Welcome to the Bonded Truth Podcast, Truth Shots, where real stories meet real healing. We are your hosts and co-hosts, Destinnee Vance and
Eric Foster.
today's episode is titled, What I Do Is Not Who I Am. This conversation is for the ones who have worn the titles, well, the strong one, the leader, the provider, the professional, the fixer, the pastor, the advocate, the boss, the caretaker. And somewhere along the way, we start believing that what we do is who we are. We introduce ourselves by our careers. We measure our worth by productivity. We feel lost when the title shifts or it gets taken away. And sometimes we don't even choose the identity. We inherit it. We follow the path laid out for us. We become what others expect because it feels like a rite of passage, because it feels safe, because it feels required. But what happens is when the role fits, yet your soul feels cramped. This episode is about separating your assignment from your identity, your career from your character, your title from your truth. Because what you do is an expression, it is not your essence. This episode is brought to you by Destiny is by Choice Support Services because your journey, your voice, and your truth matter. So I want to go ahead and jump into this segment and episode because you actually brought up this title when we were talking about it. And it really brought up the same conversation that we've had before where we've seen just in our careers as peers, some of them just doing the job because it's the rite of passage. Like, oh, I've been clean now for a year. This is what I'm going to do because that's what everybody's pushing me to do. But not everybody is passionate about what they do.
Or is it everybody's pushing me to do it, or I'm going to do it because I see everybody else doing it?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that, and we've had conversations about this in our meeting on my job, that we don't even encourage the peers that we serve to get into peer support services because of the barriers that's been put in place for a lot of them. There's no guarantee that you will get employment because a lot of them have positions. Because there's a new law coming out that Medicaid and participants must work or volunteer or do community service, but we're trying to encourage, like, find what you're passionate about and define like what you want to do, not what you're placed in a box to do.
I mean, it's hard sometimes to find out what you're passionate about when you really don't know who you are.
Yeah.
So a lot of us we got to find out who we are before we can find out what we want to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we do things just because we think we're supposed to and not because we really want to.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works for us and sometimes it don't. But either way, you got to not get lost in what you do decide to do with your life. Like, being a peer doesn't make me or break me. Being a peer doesn't make me who I am, you know. And I'm glad I caught on to that before I got lost into something that, I don't know if I will do this for the rest of my life or will do it for the pay, because I didn't get into it because of money. I got into it because of love for myself and for my brothers and sisters who still struggling.
And I think for you, you mentioned a good point about how you're a peer, but you're not even doing peer work at the job that you're currently at.
But
Still doing
peer work at the job that I'm currently at, and that showed me a lot because just living my life and living a honest program, people see that and I guess they want to know what's that about. Because I'm not like everybody that I work with, I'm not into the stuff that everybody's into, and I hang with some real old guys at work, like 60s and 70s. And the young people were still running wild, That's cool too. I've been there, but I told my story a few times to people. I guess they needed to hear it.
Would you say with your, and I'm not coming for the recovery world, but do you say a lot of people in the NA and AA world get caught up in, like, I'm a sponsor and I've been clean for 15 years, and they wear that as their identity and not really like explore what that actually means and ways that they can continue to better support the people that they serve. Does that make sense? I guess what I'm trying to say is like I see a lot of people like, and even it don't have to do with addiction. Like I have people on my team that they've been doing peer support work for so long that they feel like they know it all. So like teaching something new is just not where they're like, well, that's not what we do. It's like foreign to them.
Well, I think that a lot of people get caught up in what they did to get clean and stay clean.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's a thin line between what worked for me might not work for you. Sometimes you might want to oppose your will onto somebody else thing because it worked for me. It's gotta work for you, but a lot of times what worked for me is not gonna work for somebody else. But I can give them some advice up to what has worked for me. And that's in being a peer or being just in recovery for a sponsor. I feel it's just a very thin line between the two. Just like we're not counselors, sponsors are not peers.
Yeah.
You are a peer, but you're not a peer. You know what I mean? You're
Mhm.
amongst your peers, but you're not a peer support specialist.
Yeah.
This is thin line, I think.
Why do you feel like people get caught up in the identities of like their titles and what they do?
Because I think that sometimes they find an identity in that title and it becomes them instead of whoever they was before the title staying that person. Like no matter what I do, however far I go, I'm still gonna be Eric at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. And what I do is just gonna be that what I do.
Mhm.
I'm not. I don't want to change who I am because of what I do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be defined by what I do or my accolades or my awards or because I mean in the end of the day it can all be taken from you.
Yeah.
The knowledge can't, but all the other stuff you can get stripped and you be back to square one where you're that person like before you started doing all that stuff. So I mean I don't know. I guess it's for the individual when you when you meet somebody, you're like, "Hi, my name's Eric. I'm a certified peer recovery specialist."
Yeah.
And I'm more like, "Yeah, how you doing? I'm Eric."
I think what comes to mind is when I meet people, they come up to me as someone who is a Christian. They immediately are like, I'm a minister, I'm a pastor. And I'm like,
Yeah.
congratulations. And then it's like, but what else? There, because like if I was like a lot of people, like when I was being ordained as a deaconess, I didn't go around boasting it because it was just something that like me and God had like really came to terms with. But that's not something I lead with like, oh, I'm deaconess Destinnee. I'm mom and Destinnee before I'm that. And I just feel like when you carry that title, like I don't know, I just think that people use it as a sometimes to, and don't y'all come for me because I know y'all will. But I just think I just think
Don't you go for them.
I'm not. I just think that your work should always like
Speak for itself.
yeah, speak for itself. Like I'm the type of person I could care less. Like I want to get my doctorate. I could care less if you call me Dr. Vance or Dr. Destinnee. I would be like, okay, it's just
That's
Destiny.
just what we did because if I get it, you're gonna have to call me Doctor Eric off the rip. Walmart, Kmart, Kroger. If you don't call me that, I'm not gonna answer you.
I don't know. I think
And that goes for Jackie. That goes for Shirley, Keishanti, Jasmine, Destiny. Oh, everybody that know me gonna know me by doctor. False stop. Here I come. What do you think about that? You know, being proud of accomplishments is one thing.
yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first started getting the little stuff, and I was really proud. I tell people, but the more I was accomplishing, the less it do much for me. You know what I mean? And now that's the last thing I want to tell somebody.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I want to tell somebody is, "Hi, I'm Eric."
Why is it the last thing you want to tell people?
Because it don't make me who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm just meeting you as a person, not nowhere like you're not getting the peer, you're getting the person. Like, because I had to separate my personal life from my professional life, and I meet more people on the outside doing whatever. They're never gonna, I don't think, gonna sit in front of a chair and get some advice from me like that. So I'm meeting people as gonna be either some business gonna be done or potential, friendships or work relationships or something like that. But man, I don't want to be that guy. I want you see me as a regular old Joe.
What's the saying we say in, like, when we're using recovery language, we don't refer to the person as their diagnosis, but we refer to them as a person with, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Me personally, I think don't y'all come for me. I just think that's a bunch of crap because you're not gonna say that when they're not around.
mm-hmm,
Like where it's not supposed to say client, participant, and stuff like that, but you're gonna say whatever. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I can't. I should have probably said that part, but if we being transparent, I just think that a lot of things, a lot of words are used for certain criteria to be met, or
Like what?
like not calling an addict
Mm,
when that's what you are, and that's why you're in treatment, and that's why you in my office talking to me, not because you're a client or you're a participant. You're here because you're an addict, but they shy away from that terminology. But that's the only way a person can get some help if they recognize and accept the fact that they are an addict.
mm-hmm.
They're not gonna be like, I am a participant and I want all the help you got. No, you got to accept. I mean, words have power, but they only have as much power as you give them.
Yeah.
So I can call you Dr. Vance now before you get a degree because you teach, you help. You're part of the process. You're part of the solution, um, with or without a degree.
Yeah.
I mean, and and when you get the degree, I probably would say, "Yo, what's up, doc?" Something crazy like I do my sister. Like it just to show you that I do see, what I mean? And it's inspiration, and I'm proud of you. But when I get mine, good God Almighty, woo, woo. But I'm not gonna hold you hostage with what I got going on. I mean, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I think that this topic is something that everybody needs to kind of like reevaluate, like why behind what you're doing. I think one of the powerful conversations we've had with a, a couple recently where we were, seeing why they did what they do with the organization that they're with, and to see that these are two people that are not even in recovery, but they want to help individuals in recovery. I mean, that was powerful.
I
and
mean,
and their why, they're
it was a little bit more because sitting across from them, I got to read their emotions and their body language, and like nonverbal communication is like probably 90% of communication, and
hmm,
it just was amazing, like to be in front of them and have just like go to a meeting that you think will be 20, 30 minutes, and it's 2.5 hours
yeah,
of not forced conversation. So that was dope. You know what I mean? And you're right. Their why is
it was beautiful.
yeah.
And it just goes to show that, I mean, these two are just have ordinary, I'm not gonna say ordinary jobs, but they're not doing, like, this is something that they choose to do,
Yeah.
and they don't get caught up in it. It just goes to show that I think a lot of times we have to kind of reevaluate, sometimes take a step back and reevaluate why we do the things that we do.
I mean, the way the world is right now, they want you to think that. I think this is personal opinion. Like there are not any good people out there anymore. But there are a lot of good people that just don't get the light shined on them because they're doing something positive versus somebody doing something negative.
Hmm.
And like we're trying to shine the light on other people. People need their flowers, and I'd rather be acknowledged alive than have somebody standing up at in a room with a preacher and all that, telling the room what I did
Hmm.
after I'm gone. No, Give me my flowers now.
Yeah. You've just listened to the Blinded Truth podcast, Truth Shots. What I do is not who I am. Powered by Destiny is by Choice Support Services. And if you've been defining yourself by what you produce, what you manage, or what you carry, you need to pause. You are not just your degree, not just your trauma, not just your job title, not just the role everyone assigned you. And if you're in a season where you're questioning who you are outside of what you do, that's not failure. That's awakening. And remember this: your work can change, your title can shift, your roles can evolve, but your identity, that is something you get to define. And your destiny is by choice, not by chance. Until next time, keep walking in your truth, especially the truth about who you are beyond what you do. Bye.